Hello and welcome. Silrace here to talk about what happens if Star Citizen loses the lawsuit to Crytek, as in Cloud Imperium Games and Rover Space Industries loses the Crytek lawsuit. Now this is not a doom and gloom video, we are losing, Star Citizen is gone forever, whatever. This is not anything of that. I want to talk a little bit more about the grand scale of things instead of just focusing on Star Citizen, because even if Star Citizen loses this lawsuit, I don't honestly see Star Citizen as a brand going away because of that. Star Citizen is a game, and Squadron 42 in association with Star Citizen may simply take much longer to develop, or they may have to rebrand some things, or many of other ways to get around this, and nobody knows yet how that all will work out. No, I want to talk about the things surrounding this lawsuit, if this lawsuit is lost by Star Citizen. Because if we look, for example, at the successful games of 2017, and I'm gonna cherry pick two here. PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, and Cuphead. Two of these games which people who actually play them, had played them, probably are positive about. Okay, neither of those games is necessarily for everybody, but as an example, I really enjoyed Cuphead. However, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds I haven't even bought because I know it is not the kind of game I enjoy. However, it is popular, a lot of people are really enjoying it, a lot of people are giving positive feedback on the game. If you talk about folks who have played Cuphead, you probably run into the same exact thing. A lot of people have really enjoyed Cuphead, a lot of people are really positive about Cuphead and want to see more games like it. The point here to look at is also the fact that neither of those games came out of big publishing studios. PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds or Cuphead, and there are a number of others which came out this year, but I'm just cherry picking those two so I don't have to list a million games here. Well, less than a million anyway, but still you get the point. However, if you look at the big name games for this year, for example, let's cherry pick two, Shadow of War and Battlefront 2. Two big awaited games, and what was the reaction to both of those games for the most part? Negative. They came out of the big publishing studios, they were full of things which customers didn't like. For example, loot boxes. Now I don't want to make this a loot box video, so yeah. But that stands to point out one big thing. Big publishing studios aren't really out to give us what we want as gamers. They are out to make profit out of us, obviously. Now, the point of a business is to make profit. That I can completely agree with. However, how much profit is always up to debate. Is it all the money right now? Or is it, money over time to ensure that we stay afloat and we can churn out games which people actually want? Now, personally, I would love to see other kinds of games. There is a whole lot of games which we are not getting out of big publishing studios because those games are not as profitable as things like, let's say, Battlefront 2 was, or the yearly Call of Duty is. There is a lot of... Call of Duty makes a lot of money every year. But the sports games like NFL, football and ice hockey, for example, those make a lot of money every year. They are profitable. They are not necessarily what we as consumers, as gamers, want, however. If you look at those titles I just mentioned as an example, none of them is in any kind of single player, story-driven, role-playing game, anything of the sort. No. They are just action games, essentially. Sports games and an action game. So what is happening is if Star Citizen loses this particular lawsuit, it may send a signal over the couple of years that even Star Citizen went down. It is a crowdfunding project. Maybe we don't want to crowdfund any games. Because yes, Star Citizen is a hugely successful crowdfunding project. And even if it goes down through, let's say, management issues like this whole Crytek lawsuit and how that has been, the whole CryEngine thing has been handled, it may be remembered that it was actually a crowdfunded project, a Kickstarter project, and it still went down, even though it was massively successful. And that may cause us as gamers, as consumers of video games, to lose out on a lot of games which we would have wanted, games which we would have loved to play, simply because there might suddenly be a whole influx of small studios who are like afraid to go the whole Kickstarter or crowdfunding route, just because Star Citizen sets an example of going down as well as a crowdfunded project. And so what we may end up getting even more of are these things from big publishing studios which are not necessarily what we want, but are just what is profitable for them. And I don't view that as a good thing at all, because so many of these little games wouldn't exist, these awesome little games wouldn't exist if they couldn't come through, let's say, crowdfunding, Kickstarter, and all sorts of other avenues like so. And I would be having much less games to play, because I'm not into sports games. I have never played Call of Duty on a console. I have bought a few of them for PC, and so forth. As a simple example, many of the games which come out of big publishing studios just aren't for me. And if they were making games which are popular, which people really want, we would be seeing Cuphead 2, PUBG 2, Witcher 4. We would be seeing games like this come out. More and more of them. However, we're not seeing more of those coming out, huh? No, we're seeing more of the essentially same repeats, I would say. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it a video right here. I think I've made my point kind of clear, and if I haven't, then let me know. I will clarify it in the comment section below. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, for listening, and hopefully this was a little bit of eye-opening for somebody who hasn't really considered it from this point of view. How much we stand to lose, and not just losing Star Citizen and Squadron 42, but in the grand scheme of things, we may lose so much more if this lawsuit is actually lost by Star Citizen. Anyway, thank you very much for watching and listening.